What's going on, folks? Now, first of all, I'd like to apologize. This is going to be a quick video that wasn't necessarily planned today. And I do apologize. I'm using my phone, so all the writing and everything is going to be backwards on this, so I can actually monitor myself, make sure I stay in the camera and everything. Now, the reason this video is taking place today, Cobra documents. As you know, the Cobra, with the exception of an alignment and getting the tags renewed, is pretty much done. Or not renewed, rather, on the tags, but actually getting it licensed, getting it titled, and things like that. Now, what I'm going to share with you today is I'm going to share with you the process in the state of Arkansas for licensing, registering, titling a replica car in this state. It's an involved process. It is not consistent with the other 49 states in the union. So be sure and consult your local area to be sure and know the guidelines that you have to follow within there. But as far as this one goes, this is what it's done. And I'm also going to give you a little bit of a cost breakdown as well. A rough estimate. I don't have a calculator in front of me and I don't do math very well. So I'm going to be sure and just give you a rough estimate of what we had to do. Now, basically, when you purchase a Hurricane Cobra, and from most kit car manufacturers, replica car manufacturers, you will get a document similar to this. And again, I apologize, it is backwards. What this is this is an MSO, or a manufacturer statement of origin. In this particular case, it says Hurricane Motors LLC. Body type is 1965 Hurricane 427 Roadster. It's got my vehicle identification number on the MSO is simply the chassis number that they assign it. That is the Hurricane number. It also has information on where it was purchased. In this case, Lake City, Iowa, because if you remember, I purchased this before it sold and moved to Indiana and then to Arizona. But that is the basis. Plus, I also have as the basis of the information moving forward, the receipt bill of sale that I had purchasing the automobile. That was the total price that I paid for the car to get it here. Now, the first step in this process, the process you have to go through in the state of Arkansas is called the bonded title process. What that is a protected title that you guarantee with a line of credit or a surety bond in order to title the vehicle and such. I had to do this on the 66 Mustang for a different reason. It's not a kit car, but I still had to go through the bonded title process because the title I got from the individual I bought it from was 2 sellers old. In other words, he purchased it from someone whose name was on the title, never had the title changed over into his name and before he sold it to me, and he signed off on it, so I had to bond the title on that. But essentially, the first step in doing the bonded title in the state of Arkansas is you have to obtain an inspection from law enforcement. And in the case of the state of Arkansas, the law enforcement agency is the Arkansas State Police. You contact their dispatch line. They send somebody out to inspect the car, inspect the VIN, and things like that. And this is what you get. Once the inspection is done, you see this, and of course, again, I apologize for it being backwards, but this is an Arkansas State Police Certificate of VIN inspection to be completed by law enforcement officers. Now, in this case, in the state of Arkansas, on cars that do not have a VIN from a factory, because they're not factory cars, they have a step-by-step process that they select the VIN. If you have an MSO, they go with the chassis assignment as long as it's on the frame what that chassis number is. If you do not have a chassis number, and I apologize for my dog going nuts. Apparently I've got another shipment for the Mustang coming in. But if you don't have a VIN attached or a number attached to the frame the way Hurricane does, they then go to the engine numbers. If you don't have engine numbers, then the state of Arkansas will assign a VIN at that point. In this case, they did assign the Hurricane Motors chassis number that is welded onto the frame. Sorry about that. The UPS guy got here and the dogs went nuts. Anyway, the step-by-step process again, frame number assigned at the factory, then to the motor, and then if not, the state of Arkansas will assign a VIN number. In this case, my VIN is the chassis number assigned from Hurricane Motors. So mine is HM, whatever the number is, that was assigned the VIN number. In this case, the state trooper came to my house, invested the vehicle. I showed him where everything was, showed him where the chassis number was welded onto the side of the vehicle. and he, for a $25 fee, which is paid at the time of licensing, gave me this document. Then, after achieving that document, I had to complete this. This is a Form 10-345, State of Arkansas Statement of Facts for Issuance of a Bonded Title. And very simply, you just fill it out at the top of the screen. It has the year, make, model, body style, dimensions of mobile home, if it's a mobile home, the vehicle identification number, which I was instructed to put that number that the state trooper gave it on there. Briefly explain the kit. In this case, kit purchased from Hurricane Motors LLC. See enclosed copy of the MSO, because I did send them a copy of the MSO. The address on the MSO, of course, had changed because I was living in Texas at the time, so I made sure and told them that. The applicant's name, which is me, of course, my address, all my contact information. Then I send it to the Department of Finance and Administration, which is the Arkansas version of the DMV, Office of Motor Vehicles Bonded Titles, and you wait. And you wait. And you wait. This is an office that's very small, and they're apparently very busy. It took about 2.5, 3 months to get this approved. Once it was approved, they returned my copies of all my documents back, including the MSO. And then at that point, if I can find my information here, they return a document. Sorry, it took me a minute to find it. They returned this document here, which is Office of Motor Vehicles Bonded Title, vehicle reference, the description of the vehicle, which in this case is 1965 Hurricane 427 Roadster, the VIN number, to whom it may concern, and it states that the bonded title procedures for the Arkansas Certificate of Title in the above referenced vehicle. They requested approval for it. You have to get approval for it. What they do is they research the VIN number, make sure it's not stolen, make sure it wasn't reported lost or anything like that. This, of course, was a brand new purchase from me. I'm the only person that's ever owned it, so that was never going to be an issue. And then they note that you have to obtain a surety bond, irrevocable letter of credit, or a certificate of deposit in the assignment amount. Now, in the state of the Arkansas, they have an arbitrary number. I don't know where they get the number at, what the vehicle is worth, and then they have to multiply that times 1.5 to come up with the value of the bond that is necessary to be on it. That way the bond is insured to cover the entire vehicle. I did run into a little bit of a snag on this because the first time that they looked at this, they valued it, comparing it to much more expensive kits like Kirkland, which are hundreds of thousands of dollars, Backdraft and other ones. I had to advise them that's not the case. And also, apparently, it makes a difference that if it's a 427 Street versus a 427 SC. Mine is a 427 Street. After discussing them, they had initially valued that 1.5 multiplication figure at almost $90,000, which is going to kill me on the price of the bond because the bond is 1% of that. So after contacting them, explaining the situation, advising them that I had the purchase information and everything with it, told them that it was 427 Street, they then revised that to a value of about $39,000, which in all honesty is the value of one of these at this point, roughly, depending on the build, of course, and a number of other things. Multiplied down 1.5, it came up to around $56,000 at that point. Still a bit of an ouch, but it's an expensive car. I knew I had to deal with that at that point. So once that was done, I had that in hand with the corrected number on it. I then had to find someone to sell me a surety bond. In this case, I went to the same location of the office that's about 15 miles from me. It's a company that sells bonds using a specific bond company, and I had to purchase the bond. That, after all was figured, was $551 and change based on the $55,100 and whatever dollars value it was. The bond was 1% of that. I had to purchase the bond. Once I got the bond in hand, then I had to find insurance and get it insured. Now that is fairly easy. I had been using Hagerty Insurance for a long time for my collector cars. Hagerty is an excellent company. I have absolutely no problem with Hagerty whatsoever, other than the fact that the rates have gotten a little bit high lately. And when I got a quote from Hagerty on this car, I thought to myself, well, I've heard from other people that Grundy is a good company to deal with and they're considerably less expensive. Sure enough, I got a quote from them. It was certainly doable. Got the insurance quote from them, paid the fee after it went through underwriting and they approved it, and then waited a couple of days for it to clear underwriting, got my proof of insurance. Now, once I had my bond in hand, my letter back from the bonded title people, the MSO, my proof of insurance, all the documents that you've heard me talk about, and then I had to take all of that up to, in Arkansas, it's called the DFA, the Department of Finance Administration. In your case, it's probably a DMV, the Department of Motor Vehicles. Either way, it's the same office. You take all this information up there in the state of Arkansas. The first thing I had to do was add it to my personal property assessment. If I still lived in the state of Texas, that would not have been a necessary step because Texas does not have personal property tax. Arkansas does. So I had to assess it. I had to get a copy of my paid personal property tax assessment for the previous year because in the state of Arkansas that runs behind. And then I take all those documents to the DFA office to get my tags. The good news is it was in and out, no big deal. Didn't take long. I had to pay sales tax at that point because you don't pay sales tax on a car when you purchase it. You do that at the time of tax, title, and license. That's the tax part of tax, title, and license. The total cost of the state sales tax in the state of Arkansas on a vehicle that was valued at the sale price that I did was 6.5%, came up to about $1,700 and change. So when you consider the price of insurance, the price of the bond, the price of the tax, and the $25 fee, this entire endeavor was right around $2,300 to get it licensed. The good news is I've done this before. It is a very cumbersome and clanky procedure to go through, a lot of moving parts. Once I understood from the DFA that I had to go through the bonded title procedure, it was not a big deal. I knew exactly what I needed to do. We went from there. The entire process took a little over 3.5 months by the, sending off for the bonded title, waiting for the officer to come and inspect the vehicle, which took 2 or 3 days because I live in a very rural area. There's only a handful of officers that even patrol this area, which is good to know for future reference. But anyway, once I got all of that done, it took approximately 3.5 to 4 months to get done. The good news is the Cobra's titled, it's tagged, and ready to go. Quite a bit of a step-by-step process, but once I get an alignment on this, it'll be ready to drive. It's insured, it's tagged, it's a car, it's ready to go. Again, I cannot stress enough that your mileage may vary. If you live in a different state from the state of Arkansas, it will be a different procedure. It's my understanding. I had looked into this in Texas. It's a similar procedure. You don't have to go through the bonded title route. They simply assign a VIN number and usually will title the vehicle as whatever the engine came out of or some replica car or something like that. My title will say 1965 Hurricane 427. That is what they called it on the MSO. That's what they're going to call it on the title, so that it is tagged and titled as a 1965 vintage car. I'm happy about that. And of course, moving some stuff around in the shop. Doing a little bit of touch-up work on that one right there. But the Cobra is now one step away from me basically being done with, and that's a front end alignment. The reason is as we've gone through on this video, you will notice she is completely licensed and legal now, insurance on it. I was considering getting a personalized license plate, and I may very well still do that. But to be honest with you, the tag that they put on it temporarily until I applied for that is just so dang funny. While I don't weigh that much, I may just leave it alone because honestly, I get a chuckle out of it, and so have a couple of friends I've shared it with. But for the first time in a while, I cranked her up, let it run through a heat cycle, backed it up, put it in its standard location right there, and it is licensed and ready to drive other than the front end alignment. I'm so happy about that. But I hope this was informative for you. Every state is different on licensing procedures. I cannot stress that enough. So be sure you check with your local area before moving forward on licensing. But it is an expensive and time-consuming endeavor in Arkansas to get it done. But the good news is we got it done. Just a quick video to bring you up to date on that. I appreciate you joining me. Be sure and hit like and subscribe. More Cobra content coming up, I'm sure, in the future. But right now, we're in full Mustang mode. We're about to send this one to the upholstery shop as soon as the Mustang comes back. But this weekend, we're going to be doing bodywork and panel replacement on the Mustang. This right here is about to get blown apart. We're going to fix the rear brake on it, and we're going to strip all the chrome off of it, get all the window glass and everything out of it, get that ready to paint. The engine, of course, is together, waiting on more parts so I can make it to the transmission and have the driveline complete. I have to say, even with the Mustang gone, I'm real happy and proud of my shop. We'll see you next time.